Welcome back everyone to a board game review. Today we're looking at Wonderlands War by Druid City and Skybound Tabletop. This is a competitive game for 2 to 5 players. In Wonderlands War, each player takes on the role of a famous Wonderlandian, leading their faction to right the wrongs that befallen Wonderland. The game is played over 3 rounds. Each round has 2 phases, the Tea Party phase and the War phase. During the Tea Party phase, players will rush around the board, scrambling to make preparations for war. You'll place supporters in regions to gain a foothold, recruit Wonderlandians to your cause, place allied chips into your bag, and also unlock forge abilities to upgrade your faction. In the war phase, players will battle where they place their units, using the allies they gathered during the Tea Party. Then, players will draw chips from their bag. They'll use their strength of their units, their allied chips, triggering certain abilities, and their faction abilities too. And the highest strength wins, but be careful though, because you could draw madness chips, and you could lose units and lose the entire battle. Wonderlands War has an excellent theme. It's such a bizarre take on the Alice in Wonderland's IP. Rather than just having a simple game based on the story, you actually have these characters in an all-out war, which is such a strange concept to me, to have characters like the Mad Hatter, Cheshire Cat, Alice, Queen of Hearts, and Jabberwocky all fighting for Wonderland. Each faction is totally different, all have their own chips, their own abilities, their own upgrade options, which makes the replay value of the game go quite high. I do also like how during the Tea Party phase, you don't roll a dice or move so many slots. You basically pick where you want to go. You have all the cards laid out for you, and you pick what you want. As long as it's on that space, you can choose that space. If you want that certain ally, if you want that certain upgrade, or that certain Wonderlandian figure, you can move right there and do it. Only stipulation is, you can't go a space someone's on, and once you go past the head of the table, you must stop, refill the spaces, and draw a shard to your personal area. That's one of the great things too, because you are basically building your bag. You spend the first Tea Party phase building up your units, getting stronger. You're adding chips to your bag. The more chips to your bag, the better. Not only are you going to have more powerful abilities and unique allies to draw, but the more chips you have, the less likely you are to draw a madness chip. Now, drawing madness chips is one of the things that makes the push or luck element of this game really stand out. What's great is there's 3 sets of cards for each round. Each one's a different card, different symbols, different abilities. There's upgrade your faction. There's discard madness. There's quest cards. There's split cards. There's any ally card. You can upgrade your character. You can get Wonderlandian figures that you can place in certain areas and different abilities. What's great too is the basic ally chips all have 4 sides, A, B, C and D. And each of these different ones have different conditions. For instance, the roses on the A side will give you VP at the end of the battle, but the B side of the rose card will have you placing your chips back into the bag instead of exhausting them. So there's a lot of options here for gameplay variations, which I do really appreciate. The game has great quality for money. I mean, for the price of this game, at a regular retail price, you get a lot of content. You get, I think, 200 chips, 5 unique factions, the bags, all the plastic tokens. You get all the quest cards, the Wonderlandian cards, all the little cardboard cutout figurines. This is the retail version, and you still get logo quality content. I would recommend the Kickstarter version of it, because not just because you have nice little figures. That's not the problem of this version I have. It's the fact that this game is a pain in the ass to set up. There's so many tokens. There's so many cards. I mean, when you put out the allied chips, you've got to put the cards out, stack up the chips next to the cards. It takes a long time. But quality-wise, the game is very, very high and well worth the money. I do also like the artwork of this game. It's very unique, very bizarre. Love the style, especially Cheshire Cat. It looks so, it's almost creepy and haunting, but at the same time it's mesmerising. I love the cat. Even the artwork on the cards and the figures themselves, like the flamingos and the rosies and the Mad Hatter and the Queen of Hearts, all the chips, all the quality is great. The artwork is great. The symbols are nice and vibrant. They pop off the board. Everything just looks great. This game has amazing tale presence. It stands out so well. It's such a colourful, vibrant game just to look at from a distance. It looks so impressive. The game does say 25 minutes per player. I say it's a little bit of an understatement. It does take a bit longer. I say with 5 players, it probably takes about 3 hours, I'd say, an hour per phase. Depends how fast you're at the game, because the turns do go quite quickly, because you're just basically, the Tea Party phase, just collecting things, going through quite fast. The battle phase can go on a bit longer. It depends how far you are into the game. Particularly in the last round when you've got quite a lot of chips in your bag and you're quite upgraded, it can take a while. So the game with 5 players is quite long. I recommend 3 or 4, sort of the golden number of players for this game. But it does scale well, it does play well at any player count. It's not too long, but it is a game where you have to set aside at least 2 or 3 hours, especially the first couple of games getting to learn the game as well, because it is quite a long game. The game is also very heavy, very complex. It says 30 bucks in the box, but that's it, a pinch of salt. Is a very, very hard game. When you first get the game, break it out and see the rulebook and see all the things, all the phases for a turn, all the different abilities and the resolutions of the Tea Party phase and the War phase. It's a lot to take in. There's a lot of stuff in this rulebook. There's a lot of symbols and cards and ways to gain victory points. The game does have very nice reference cards and flowcharts to help you out a little bit there, but be warned, this is not a game that's nice and easy to play. I mean, I know it's Alice in Wonderland, and it's quite cute and cartoony, and, you know, kids might be drawn into it, but be warned, it's a very hard game to learn. I mentioned before the game has two phases, the Tea Party phase and the Battle phase. The Tea Party phase is pure strategy. The Battle phase is mostly luck. The Tea Party phase is strategy because you're basically building your bag. You're focusing on what you need to do for this round. Do you want to get more chips? Do you want to use chips that synergize? Because all chips do certain things. Do you want to go for the roses to get VP? Do you want to try and forge things? Do you want to go for your faction more? Do you want to go for your quest card? There's a lot of planning here to be done, because obviously you choose where you go on the board. There's no randomness here. You're basically picking out what you want to do. You're picking out your character. The allies are all laid out in front of you. You can see what they do before you draw the allied chips. The Wonderlandian cards, the top three always face up, so you can always see what the Wonderland cards do first. So there's a lot of planning there. And I do like this part of the game because it makes you sort of think and look at the symbols and think, right, what can I do? A lot of options here. There's 12 or so spaces open to me. Do I want to do this? Do I want to upgrade? Do I want to go this path? And this is what I love about this game. I love games where there's a lot of options. I love games like this, where you have a ton of options on your turn. You can upgrade your faction. You can get more chips. You can get different allies. You can work on getting synergy. You can work on your quest cards. You can work on battles in a certain area. You can work on synergizing with your faction. What chips will go well with your faction abilities. It's the great planning part of the game. Onto the war part, this is pure luck. This is what I love though. It's so tense. The game is so fun because basically you are taking chips and revealing them and increasing your strength, triggering abilities, doing certain things. But in certain areas you want to get a VP or you want to get your quest card, so you want to push your luck some more. The problem is though, if you draw madness chips, you just can't supporters. When you run out of supporters, you go bust, you lose the entire battle. So it's one of them great luck things where you want to keep pushing your luck. So you have players who love luck, who love, you know, bag building and drawing tokens, and then just last second revealing and going, oh no, I got a madness chip, or oh, I got my strength up, I can win now, I'm going to go again. Or you might halt, you might think, I've gone so far ahead, I'm going to halt, I'm going to, you know, last second, I'm going to pull my hand out like that, I've stopped, no more chips for me, but I'm safe, but will it overtake me? So the war phase is great. There's a lot of fun between players. You've got a good play group here who like having fun and, you know, having all that luck and pushing your luck and going more and more, drawing chips and see who can go as far as they can without going bust. It's so fun. What's great too is if you aren't part of the battle, in that area, you can also place bets. You get a small reward. It's not much. It makes it fun though to sort of pick a winner who's going to win, and then it makes you more involved in the fight. Because some games like this where you aren't in a certain area, you're sort of out the game and you're just sort of sitting back, and it can be quite a bit boring not sort of being involved. But because you can place bets on who's going to win, it makes you more involved in the game. And that's really great about Wonderlands War. The game has tons of interaction. It's a very interactive game for players. You're constantly checking out their abilities, checking out what they're doing, see where they're on the board. Have they got more chips than you? What figure they taken? Where are they on the board? Do they have supporters there? Do they have a castle there? What's their strength like? What's that ability do again? What have they got? Do I want to fight them? If they pull that chip, that ability going to really suck at the right time. So you're constantly fighting. Because it is a competitive game mostly about war, it's a very interactive game. If you like games where you're constantly fighting and butting heads of each other, it's a perfect game for you. One of the bad things about this game though is the setup time. It takes so long to set up, especially the retail version, because this little crappy, you know, sort of cardboard insert thing isn't that great really, and you've got so many chips to organise. Set up the Wonderland cards and the allied chips takes so long. Your faction's okay. I suppose you could put the faction tokens in individual bags with the faction boards. That's pretty quick. And the board itself and the cards aren't too bad. It's just all those chips. If you've got away with almost the chips, I'd recommend buying a sort of token holder or getting coin capsules if you've got the retail version, and put it in a little box to keep them all separated, because there's so many chips and they have to be organised in strength value and based on type. So it's about 20 minutes setup time, so be careful of that. The game plays quite fast in between turns because each player is basically moving to a spot, taking a card, upgrading, drawing some chips. So turns go quite quick in a Tea Party phase. The war phase does go a bit longer, but if you are involved in the battle, it is quite engaging and you are going quite fast because you're just drawing chips, doing the ability, and going along. So turns do go quite quick in this game. It's not like a game where one person's doing their turn and you're sitting aside waiting for ages and ages. Because the Tea Party phase, the actions are quite fast. Once you learn what little symbols mean, it goes quite quickly. And the war phase is very involving, so that goes quite fast too. So the player turns do it quite quickly. Although it's quite a complex game, the rulebook is very well written. I'll give that to Druid City. The rulebook is fantastic. It's written, it's laid out quite nicely, lots of examples and charts and categorized sections, lots of examples at the back of the book as well, examples of certain war phases and certain tea party phases. All the cards and factions abilities listed out for you to read and understand. There's also handy little quick reference guides too to give out to players. And there's also really great flowcharts, which are really good, really helpful. The flowcharts are super handy, especially in the war phase, because they'll give you tips what to do next, quick little things like draw, did you go bust, do you draw again, manage chip, resolve this, and go through again. So, although the complexity of this game is very high, the rulebook is written superbly well. There is no solo mode, this game, unfortunately. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could design a solo mode for this game. I do want to make my own solo mode for this game. I think it could be done. But the only problem is, though, you aren't doing interaction with players. It's drawing bags, it's pushing your luck. You need that sort of human factor there to sort of draw bags, take risks. I'm sure you could do it in a way, but the game does shine with other players. So there is no solo mode, unfortunately, right now. But I reckon, hopefully in the future, they could do one. One of the best things about Wonderlands War is the replay value. It's so high. You've got 5 factions, each with unique abilities and unique upgrade paths. You've got 5 ally chips. Each one has 4 different sets to use, different sort of presets. You also have the Wonderlands cards. There's tons of Wonderlands cards. All the allies and Wonderlands chips you can take there. Also, there's different routes you can take. There's all different Tea Party cards. There's a different ability you can trigger. Synergies of certain combos of abilities and chips. You can play a game as a faction. You can try a different route, different tactic. You can go more defensive. You can go from forging quite early. You can go for different chips you used last time. There's so many things in this game. There's so many components and bits and cards and figures and ways of victory and paths. The quest cards too. I forgot about the quest cards. You get quest cards at the start of the game. You can draw more. And these quest cards are quite fun. They'll be sort of like win a battle in this area or end a sort of war phase on this much strength. So sometimes you can be going for win a battle, but sometimes you can also go for your quest card and secrets. So there's a lot of things doing your turn, a lot of replay value, a lot of paths to take, options. There's just so many things to do in this game. It's so well designed. And lastly, my summary for Wonderlands War. This is a totally unique, innovative, bag building, push your luck style game. Truly competitive, truly bonkers. It's amazing. It's quite a weird game to describe. When you say I've got an Alice in Wonderland board game, people sort of think, well, that's just going to be like some cartoony, easygoing sort of like Tea Party kind of thing. When you say there's a Tea Party phase as well, they think, oh no, that's just going to be really boring and bland. When you see the game and you see how big the board is and all the cards and figures and the faction boards, it just looks so impressive. The game is equally great to look at and equally great to play. I love the replay value. I love the theme, the artwork, the quality of components, all the chips. I love the Tea Party phase. I love the strategic planning of your faction, your upgrades, getting ready for war, preparations for war, feels good. I love the war part. I love pushing your luck. I love seeing people's face when they pull chips out and it's the wrong one, or they didn't get the right chip, or they go madness, they go bust. It's such a fun game. It is truly fantastic. I'm going to give this game a nice, solid A. And that is it for my review of Wonderlands War. Any comments or questions about this game, comment down below. And as always, like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.